Why play Aurelion Sol Mid? Well, he has very high consistent damage, he scales into a late game Star Dragon god, he has incredibly unique pathing and movement, and he's a beast in a team fight. However, his early game mana cost is incredibly high and his early game damage incredibly low, and he can struggle against champions with good mobility and who can interrupt his flight. Aurelion Sol's passive is every time he uses damaging abilities on enemy champions, he gets Stardust stacks, which improves his abilities. The burst damage on his Q deals additional maximum health damage, scaling with Stardust. His W gets increased distance he's able to travel. It increases the size of his E and increases the execution threshold, and finally they also increase the size of his ultimate. Aurelion Sol's Q is a channeled ability which causes him to breathe starfire in a line. This can be channeled for just over 3 seconds, but when it's fully leveled it can be channeled as long as you have mana. This deals damage to the first enemy hit and reduced damage to nearby targets. In addition, every second this is used against the same target it deals additional burst damage which scales insanely well with his passive, and for each of these bursts of damage against an enemy champion he gains 1 Stardust. Aurelion Sol's W causes him to fly in a direction which can be used over terrain and its distance scales with Stardust. During this time his Q has no cooldown, no maximum duration, and it gets increased damage. Also, it slows the flight by 50% when used, allowing you to use it on the same target for longer. If you damage a champion within 3 seconds of the takedown, it refunds 90% of this cooldown's ability, allowing you to reset through fights. Aurelion Sol's E creates a circle on the floor which is a black hole. This damages all enemies within and drags them to the center. Enemies in the center below a certain level of health are instantly executed. This ability grants 1 Stardust per second from champions within, 10 Stardust for each epic monster that dies within, 5 Stardust for champions and large monsters that die within, 3 for siege minions, and 1 for minions and small monsters. Aurelion Sol's ultimate is a large circle skill shot which after a short delay deals damage and stuns all enemies hit, granting 5 Stardust per champion hit. After gathering 75 Stardust, the next ultimate is enhanced. It deals additional damage in a larger area, knocking up all enemies instead. Also, this creates an AoE shockwave which affects a massive amount of the map, slowing and damaging all enemies hit. For combos in lane, start with E into Q, and then as they move out of your E, chase them down with W and Q. And your all-in combos use W followed by your ultimate and your E, before burning them down with your Q. For matchups, he does better into more passive laners who he can push in and then roam. However, he can struggle against assassins who can easily get onto him. For runes, Comet will always be a solid page on him, however if you're against a more passive laner, consider First Strike. For build orders, start Tear and Pot into Rod of Ages, Tier 2 Boots, and an Archangel. Following this, a Hat and Void Staff are great for damage, and all of these are good situationally, with Crystal Scepter being a must-buy in many games. For skill order, start E then Q then W before maxing Q then E then W, taking ult whenever you can. For summoner spells, take Flash and Teleport. Starting the game, his mana costs are incredibly high and damage pretty low, so your main focus is going to be on farming hard and stacking your Stardust passive. The easiest way to do this is by using your E to last hit multiple minions at the same time. During this time, you're also looking for windows to trade, and a great way to start this is by using your E to pull them into your Q. At this point, they should walk away from you, where you can then W towards them using Q for a massive amount of control and damage. With this control over your lane, you can easily start roaming and influencing the rest of the map. Entering the late game, you truly feel like a Star Dragon cosmic god. Before entering a fight, you ideally want to have your empowered ultimate, as it's such a brilliant AoE free damage slow that feels broken. At this point, play the safe backline mage, spamming damage on anything you can while looking for opportunities to fly towards anything valuable and burst them out. And you can use your ultimate and your E to either peel for yourself or CC and blow up multiple enemies.